Confirmed reports, I repeat, confirmed reports of nuclear detonations in New York and Pennsylvania. My God.
Hello everybody, my name is Pure Dominance, or James if you prefer, and this is Fallout 4. Since this game came out the other day, I have been playing an absolute massive amount of this game, and I've come across a lot of things as I progressed through that I really wish I would have known earlier in the game, and so I figured I would throw together a couple of these things to help you better transition into the nuclear wasteland that is Fallout 4. Now before we go ahead and jump into the 5 beginner tips that I have for all of you, if you guys enjoy these kinds of videos and you want to see some more, make sure you let me know down below by dropping me a like, because it really does support me, supports the channel, and lets me know that you guys want to see some more. And with all of that out of the way, let's jump right in. Since it's the first tip that I have, it only makes sense that we start at the very beginning in the creation of our character, where we first pick our special stats. Now, this is a pretty daunting task for most people, especially if you're new to Fallout. You just don't know what to pick, you don't know what's good to pick, and you just don't know what to do. And so I have good news for you, and that is that this is not as pivotal of a selection point as it was in the old Fallouts, because as you level up, you unlock more points where you can still vary and modify this so it's not set in stone. And I have a tool for you that you can use to plan out your entire character from start to finish. So this is the Fallout 4 build planner. It will allow you to put points in and see exactly what perks you're going to have access to and what you will be able to do later on in the game if you level up certain different trees. Now this is going to be helpful for especially the hardcore Fallout players who really like to have everything planned out in advance. You can select different books, bobbleheads, and other things that you might come across in the world that affect your skill set, and it's really a future-proof tool for you to be able to plan out exactly what you want your character to end up like. Now, as I mentioned, as you leveled up, you can indeed increase your base stats of strength, perception, endurance, charisma, intelligence, agility, and luck, but you can also use them to buy perks. And so there are only a couple of perks that I would recommend that everybody get. One of them is lockpicking, because you will be cut off from a whole vast amount of the world if you don't have the ability to pick certain locks, more difficult locks than the beginner ones. And also hacking. Hacking is going to be very, very useful, again, for accessing areas that you couldn't access otherwise. Those are really the two main ones that I would recommend that everybody get. The lockpicking one is level 4 under the perception perk tree, and the hacking one is level 4 under the intelligence tree. So you do need to have 4 points in each of those, but once you have 4 points and you unlock them, it's really going to allow you to access a whole vast gamut of areas that you wouldn't be able to access before, and so adds a large amount of playability to the game. Now, the second tip is actually going to be occurring still here in the character selection menu, and that is the name of your character. Now, this is something I didn't know was real until I just typed in my normal name, and then the robot butler in the game will say the name that you type in, assuming it's generic enough. So if you type in like a name like John or James, he's going to say the name for you.
Mr. James?
But as I found out, you could also add in a lot more hilarious names that really just add a whole bunch of just laughs and giggles into the game that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Mr. Boobies.
Hey, Codsworth.
Mr. Boobies. Mr. Fuckface. Mr. Titty.
Like, how awesome is that? You know, there's a feature there. This guy apparently recorded over 1,000 different voices when he was doing the robot voiceover. And so, you know what, we might as well take advantage of his hard work and use a name. I don't know what an entire list of the names are. I did come across one webpage that I might throw together. You might see it down in the description where you can see a whole list of the names. But just try out some different names, see if he'll say them. And it's just really, really hilarious to just play like that. So anyway, try that out, mess with it. It's just really a good time. So the third thing we're going to be talking about is power armor. Now you're going to come across power armor very early on in the game. I think it's when you first meet the Minutemen that you come across your first suit. And while it's totally awesome and adds a whole bunch of armor to your kit, it's really not the most effective way, especially early on, for you to fight and move around. That's because power armor runs on energy, and the fusion core that it runs on are very, very hard to come by, especially early on in the game. And so if you're out running around scavenging or fighting off some people in the middle of nowhere, and your suit runs out of energy, it just moves incredibly slow, and you almost have to abandon it there until you can get another fusion core. And not to mention the fact that most fights in most situations you can easily handle without the power armor, so don't be afraid just to drop it off in your home workshop or whatever and just come back for it whenever you need it. Now that is another thing I want to talk about, is a home workshop. And so that's my fourth tip. Get yourself a home base where you can fast travel to between missions, a place where you can drop off junk. There's a couple of workbenches where you can work on, repair things, fix things up, or do whatever you need to do, you know, maybe sleep the night and just relax before you head off onto your next mission. Now early on, there's really two major places where you can do it, either Sanctuary or the Red Rocket. I'd recommend doing it at the Red Rocket because it's got a whole bunch of workshop space where, like I mentioned before, you can repair things, craft things, and do things like that, as well as the fact that there's not a bunch of annoying NPCs always hollering and crying about how much food they don't have or how they don't feel safe or whatever. You know, you can just get away from those annoying people because they really do start to grind your gears, you know, at Peter Griffin after a while. And so I personally chose the Red Rocket, and I would recommend that you do the same. And the final tip I have for you is, oh my, for the love of God, save often. There's nothing worse than being out in the middle of nowhere and getting like ambushed by some pack of wild dogs or something that you just weren't ready for, getting killed, and then noticing that your last save point was 25 minutes back. Nobody wants to walk that distance again or do any of the things that they did in the past 25 minutes for a second time. So for the love of Pete, save often. And a little cool feature that you may not have known is that you can save in the middle of chat dialogue. So if you come across like that, you know, that chat tree that's like, this might lead to some bad consequences, save before you click it. If it does, you know, if it ends up doing something that you didn't want it to do, just go ahead and reboot up the level, reboot up the save. You'll already be at that point in the conversation where you can then go ahead and just restart talking and just pick a different option. And it's especially useful when you have a persuasion tree where you're rolling the dice on whether or not it's even going to work. And so if you know, if you've got an especially low persuasion level, just keep doing it, just keep loading up and resaving and loading up and resaving. And eventually the statistics have to be on your side, and it will work. You know, it'll save you a couple of points maybe somewhere along the line, but it just, for the love of Pete, save often. That's all I can really tell you. Make sure you save. And I think that'll do it for my 5 Fallout 4 beginner tips. This is like my 19th take of this, I swear to God, so I hope I can get through it. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you let me know down below. And if you guys think that your friends who may also be playing Fallout 4 would find this video helpful, make sure you share it with them and subscribe for future videos. Like I said, I will be sure to make some more of these if you guys enjoy them. And I think with all of that out of the way, I appreciate all of you watching. I will see all of you later with another video. So, peace!